There's a wide range of variation among people looking for a nice used wheelchair van at an affordable price as far as understanding what certain realities are. And this is especially true when it comes to understanding the reality of what is or is not reasonably available and attainable. Of course, just about anything is available if a person could make a part-time job out of the process and spend many months or even years searching. And it helps if a person is able and willing to go 1,000 or 2,000 miles to get a van. But of course, that's not the case for most people. Most people who are looking for a van need it in days, weeks, or a couple of months and hope to find it within a few hundred miles. And in that case, it's very important and so helpful to decide what features and details about a van are wants versus needs. I suppose the fact is that nearly everyone starts out searching for a wheelchair van in a similar way that they may have searched for a vehicle in the past. It's natural to consider details such as style, color, exact features, brand, model, various conveniences, miles, and so on. That's what we've all done when we decide it's time to buy another vehicle. But when it comes to used wheelchair vans, there's a different approach that needs to occur. Because what everyone discovers and realizes, some sooner than others, is that wheelchair vans in general are statistically rare, and ones that are nice or very nice with good or excellent miles, and for prices in the teens or low 20s, are extremely statistically rare. And so it becomes very important and helpful to determine what are the wants versus the needs when shopping for a nice, affordable wheelchair van. Doing so saves lots of frustration and time and creates the real possibility of finding a van that suits your needs for a certain price that's not terribly far away. I usually suggest that a person get very clear about their actual needs before they spend much time searching for a van. And of course, consider the wants as well, but just get clear about what are wants versus needs. Otherwise, the process is usually not only frustrating, it can be overwhelming. I often get calls from people who are obviously overwhelmed, and after I help them focus on their actual needs, and they set aside their focus on the wants, they seem to feel a lot better, much more hopeful and optimistic. And they end up finding a van that suits them just fine. In case you're not clear about what I mean about wants versus needs, I'll give a couple of common examples. First example, if the user is a large person in a large wheelchair, then being sure a van has a lift or ramp that will accommodate that weight or dimension is a need. However, searching for a heavy capacity lift just for good measure, only for the sake of having an extra cushion of capability, would be a want. Second example, if a person in their wheelchair for some reason has a very inflexible body, which makes bending, slouching, or adjusting impossible or uncomfortable, then there would be a need to get a van with a certain amount of clearance at the side or rear entry point. This would allow them entry with no bending, slouching, or adjusting. However, if there was simply a desire to have it be very easy to get in and out of the van without doing any bending, slouching, and adjusting, when in fact the person is capable of doing so, that would be a want. And one more example. If a person in a wheelchair needs to be fully independent, including driving themselves, and so they need to load and unload themselves, they usually have a need for features such as a wireless remote control or power opening side doors. However, if a person simply likes the basic convenience of a wireless remote or power opening side doors, but they don't require it, that is a want. And so I suggest that each person carefully consider what their needs are. Go ahead and keep track of the wants as well, but keep in mind they are indeed wants, not needs. Most people discover that by separating and being clear about the wants versus needs, it makes the searching and shopping process much less frustrating, and success comes faster. It keeps everything in a comfortable, balanced, practical perspective. That is how you find what you need, and in the process, you often get some of your wants as well. And if you only accomplish getting what you need and not much of the wants, then you have at least accomplished what was most important. You see, I've talked to so many people who are trying to get their wants and their needs well covered in a nice, affordable wheelchair van, and it's not a sweet story. I can tell you from much experience that is a path that usually leads to great frustration and anxiety, and a lot of time goes by without success. I'll close by mentioning another tip that is helpful for folks to keep in mind when shopping for a nice, affordable wheelchair van. This also relates to the wants versus needs topic. It's good to keep in mind that although certain needs as well as wants may not exist on a certain van you are evaluating, they may not be prohibitively costly to add to the van. Of course, the most notable mobility features of a van, such as lifts, tall roof, lowered floors, and other major items, are generally cost prohibitive to add to a van because they cost many thousands of dollars each. However, there are items that can be added for as little as a few $100s or $1,000 or $2,000. And so if your needs include some of these lesser priced items, it's wise to not move past a certain van if adding an affordably priced feature or two will cause it to then meet your needs. And maybe for an affordable price, you can even add a want that matters most to you.